So State of Play went kind of how I figured it would, specifically the closeout. I actually talked a bit about one of my predictions being that Final Fantasy VII Remake would be a part of it, and that could be that third-party Sony game that we heard about that kind of disappeared for a while and would show up. We also talked about, of course, the idea of Deep Down being another one. But Final Fantasy VII Remake started making a lot of sense leading up to this because, of course, Square is going to have their own big broadcast. They're going to do their own State of Play type thing like they did last year, except this year it sounds like they're going to have a bit more to show, and they could close out Sony State of Play with a teaser saying tune in June, and about a month now, actually, almost exactly a month, and find out all about Final Fantasy VII Remake, it seems. More to come in June. That's how they ended this. It was about a minute long, and there were some pretty interesting things here, and I'm excited because Final Fantasy VII Remake is something I've been looking forward to since they announced it years ago. It's been a long time. It was at an E3 on stage. People freaked out. It was a really exciting thing, and then it just disappeared. But it has now reemerged. It is technically back, saying this looks to be the year at least of coverage for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So if you've been waiting for it, get excited, it seems. When is it going to come out, though, is the big question. And this trailer kind of gives us some clues about a possible time that we could at least be able to play some of it. And I say some of it because there's still a chance that it's episodic. And I kind of think this trailer could still be pointing to it being episodic. And talk about that here soon as well. So the trailer, like I said, only about a minute. Development footage, subject change, not surprising, obviously. Seeing Aerith there, that looks ridiculous, right? And here's the thing. I said, of course, that there would be, we're going to have to watch, obviously, a big scene in this game, and I said it on Twitter, and people said I spoiled it, but, I mean, Final Fantasy VII is how old now? It's pretty old, so I feel like I can't really spoil it at this point because we've had plenty of time to play it, so, but the character models all look really, really good. I mean, like, super detailed. And that's really cool that they've kept that. And it seems like it shifts between kind of like a cinematic like this into like the actual gameplay, because they do show gameplay. It is all Unreal Engine 4 from what we've seen. So that's seemingly helped them with their development and the way it looks and everything, because it looks good visually. So if we go here, we can see some of the gameplay where we actually have our command menu up and everything at the bottom left. It does look like it is still going to be kind of an action RPG almost. We do have our Punisher, attack, and then our command menu down there, and then we can see actually our party with Tifa, Aerith, and Cloud. Now, I don't mind the change in gameplay because I think they want to modernize it and make it less like Final Fantasy VII was just a baseline traditional RPG. I love the game. Right? I think a lot of people really liked it in the 90s, but I think if they just took it, cookie cutter, moved it over to now, even with better visuals, I still think it would feel old. It would feel archaic. If they were going to do this right, they wanted to modernize it and change it up some, and I don't mind this as much. I remember Crisis Core was similar. It's been a while since I played Crisis Core, but I remember that was similar to where you could move around, and they changed it up somewhat. So, again, I don't mind the change in gameplay to this point, because from what we see here compared to what it was before, I think this looks better so far, right? So we see Cloud, of course, getting combos, and we see Barrett lighting them up. Visually, again, it looks great. This could end up being one of their best looking PlayStation 4 games, and it appears to be coming obviously right at the end of the generation, but we do, of course, know that the PS5 at this point is going to be at least backwards compatible with PlayStation 4 games. So no new title, I believe. It just still is Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was hoping they would have come up with a new title, and that would have been what they showed here. They could still technically come up with a new title, right? They could still show up and say, this is Final Fantasy VII something. We have Advent Children was one. They could come up with something and put it in there. We'll see. But they do say, of course, more to come in June. Now, this is important because, of course, they already told us that they wanted to get Kingdom Hearts 3 out into the public before they started talking about this game. So I get why it's now to the point where, we're going to find out about this game, because they wanted to get Kingdom Hearts 3 out, and I'm okay with that. Kingdom Hearts 3 sold well. It was big for them. It was in development for a while also, And finally, a game that's been in development for what feels like forever. What was that, 2015, E3 2015? That's going to end up being 4 years from the one coming up. We know there was troubled development. There was a lot of stuff going on. So I'm excited to find out more about this game. And here's the thing. I think it is going to be an episodic game. Remember, they talked about it? I was hoping that when they had those development issues and they seemingly rebooted the thing in development, that they would have scrapped the idea of an episodic game, but there were 3 discs with the original game on the PlayStation 1. I almost feel like they'll do a 3-episode thing, 1 episode per disc, essentially. So they would still be fairly long. Like, I think each episode could be like 20 hours long or something like that, right? And then obviously with the third one, I guess it would give you like kind of that open world style thing with your airship, it seems. So there's that. But here's the thing about this trailer that makes me kind of think it is going to be episodic. Everything they showed in this trailer was like from the beginning of the game. Like, no, I think everything we saw here was from the first disc, right? Like if you go back and look at everything, it's like the opening scene in the reactor and everything, you know, the big scorpion boss. They showed the scene with Cloud and Sephiroth. That could have been kind of put together just for this trailer. But of course, he had several kind of scenes where he would obviously hallucinate and stuff, and you'd see Sephiroth near him. So I do think it still might be episodic, and I think this trailer could be pointing to that just because of the footage and the scenes that they used here. We saw, of course, Tifa at the bottom right there with her name. So while she's not, while she's not directly in the trailer, right? Like they didn't show like a close cut of her or anything or nothing like that. We mostly saw Aerith, Cloud, and Barret. She's still in there. So here's the other thing, and this is going to be very interesting. I guess this would be considered a spoiler, like I said, but the game's been out for so long on so many different platforms. It's on Steam, and you can run it on a potato. So if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII by now, past the first disc, right? Because that's where the first disc ends. I don't know what to tell you. It's one of the most iconic scenes in gaming. So if you have not seen this part, then I'm not sure what to tell you. So if you want to stop now because I'm about to say, I guess, a spoiler for Final Fantasy VII, you can. The scene where Aerith dies or is killed, I'm curious how they're going to do that, because I think a lot of stuff from Final Fantasy VII is going to have to be changed. There are scenes where Cloud is like beating up Aerith. There are scenes with Sid. There's, of course, the whole scene where Cloud is cross-dressing. I'm curious how they're going to approach all of that. Things get cut out, of course, but the scene with Aerith, after seeing the visuals here, I think is going to be like on like another level from what we remember it, right? You know, it was like, it was 32-bit PlayStation 1 polygon visuals. Even on Steam, it's still obviously super blocky. This is going to recreate that scene, and I think it is going to be something else. And that's actually something I'm really looking forward to, is how much care and attention they put into that scene that most of us, like I said, feel is one of the most iconic scenes in gaming. Is going to be Aerith, of course, getting stabbed by Sephiroth. So I think that it was already very, very heavy in that game, very emotional. So I'm curious how they play it up here. And if they do it episodic, think about it, that's going to be how one of them ends. You know, it's going to be basically that is Aerith getting killed, and then you move on to the next one. I'm also curious, because this is built for the fans, if they put in some way to bring her back in the game. That's going to be something I'm very curious about. Do they bring her back? Because I feel like if they are really going to do this, they're going to do it right, and they're going to put all this time and effort in. Why not put something like that in for fans who beat the game? Maybe there's like, you got 100% or something, and then Aerith can rejoin your party through some crazy thing, some quest you go on and you get her back. But this is exciting stuff to see it come back. We're going to find out more in June. I think that is going to be Square. I think they're going to have that and the Avengers project there. I think those are going to be their two big blow-off games, right? Avengers obviously super popular with Endgame going on. So I think those are going to be the two big ones. I don't know if this is going to be playable on the showroom floor, but I will at least admit they did show gameplay. It's been in development for quite a while. I would like to think that they would have like a hallway or like a little spot for people to run around in and just swing the sword with Cloud. But if they don't have that ready there, it might not be a 2019 episodic game then. It might be 2020. That doesn't necessarily mean they couldn't bring it out February 2020, right? And kind of do what they did with Kingdom Hearts. Came out right at the end of January 2020. I could see that, like I said, Kingdom Hearts came out earlier this year at the end of January. Maybe this is an early 2020 release for the first episode, then the other ones release either every year after that or throughout 2020, and then we get the big compilation disc that they then resell us, and then they put it on the PS5. So it's Square. That's how they would probably do it. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. Did this get you excited just to see it back? Because it had become a meme at this point, that it doesn't even exist anymore. It's never going to come out. And they do show it off again at State of Play with everyone watching. So let me know what you think about this down below. Did you like what they showed? I think visually this is like next level right now for Square. So seeing them retell the story with these kind of visuals is the most exciting part to me, even over the gameplay. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. I'm very curious. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, disliked it, if not. And if you want to hear my thoughts on State of Play and Nintendo's E3, make sure you subscribe with notifications on for tomorrow morning, Friday's News Wave, where we go over all of that. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.